Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me today on a Q&A session. It's my second live stream on Instagram, and today I am less nervous than last time, so that's good. Today I will be talking about Ahimsa, nonviolence. So I made a blog post about it on Monday. And I just want to sort of explain it a bit further, what I mean and why it's important to me, and how you can, if you want to, how you can incorporate Ahimsa into your life. So I sat down a few weeks ago and created a calendar for what kind of content I want to create for the next, I think it's 8 weeks. And Ahimsa came up very quickly for me because it's just so Ahimsa means non-violence. I will go into more detail about the definition itself, but just to say that it's a very important concept to me, and it's very important to me to inspire and share this way of being and way of living with the rest of the world, because I really think that we all need to be aware of this and aware of our own conduct and how we behave and think and act towards ourselves and others. And I think if we all try to be better at it, to be more gentle, more kinder to the world, we would really have a better world to live in. So imagine a world where people didn't feel angry or didn't act upon their anger. Imagine a world where people had compassion towards themselves and towards others, and didn't let their egos drive them and drive their actions. So just imagine that. Imagine a world where we didn't have violence, neither in our thoughts, in our actions, or in our words. So on that note, Ahimsa, I think Mahatma Gandhi, he's called, like people call him a grandfather of nonviolence, because I'm sure you all know who Gandhi is, so I don't have to explain why he was called the grandfather of nonviolence. And he explained it as not causing injury to any creatures by words, thoughts, or deeds. So that's his definition. Actually, calling him the grandfather of nonviolence is not entirely correct, because Ahimsa actually originates from yoga philosophy, which stems way back. It's way more ancient, the philosophy itself. So we have this Indian, or had this ancient Indian sage called Patanjali, who actually collated all of the Yoga Sutras, so sort of code of conduct for how to live a meaningful and purposeful life. So he collated it sort of in one single entity or one single text or collection of texts. And he then went ahead and created 8 limbs of yoga. So these 8 limbs, you can also say that it's it's a philosophy of living, it's art of living basically. Again, a healthy, purposeful, meaningful, happy life. And it's also sort of a path into self-realization, or nirvana, if you want to call it that way. So Ahimsa is actually, so the first 2 steps in this 8 limbs of yoga system are called yamas and niyamas. And so yamas are all the things that we should sort of refrain from. It's sort of like a social contract, things that we should avoid doing in our lives, such as violence, stealing, lying, promiscuity, and etc. etc. So there are several aspects or factors there. And then we have, on the other hand, we have niyamas, which are all the things that we're encouraged to do. I'm not going to get into that because it's it's a whole other topic. But so Ahimsa is the first sort of step in the yamas framework, and basically means non-violence, non-violence either in words or in thoughts or in actions, both towards ourselves and also towards the world. So other human beings, other creatures, the planet, Mother Nature, the environment. Yeah, that was a bit the definition behind Ahimsa. It's a very hard thing to practice. Um, so people like Mahatma Gandhi and Dalai Lama and Martin Luther King, they lived by this, by the concept, and they lived it. But us more normal people, it's very challenging, and it's a process. I'm not perfect. Like, I started to care a lot about this. Like, a few years ago, I didn't care. All I cared about was work, parties, money, traveling, having fun, just like enjoying life. And then once I discovered yoga, I realized that there's more to life than that. And so that became very important to me, being a good human being, and not only following what my ego told me to do or to say or to react, because we're all really driven by our egos. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. Ego can be really good, it can drive us forward, but it's when it takes over our soul, that's when it becomes a problem. So I got into this whole mindset when I started practicing yoga, and then even more so when I became a yoga teacher and really got the nitty gritty behind all of this, the philosophy and all the sutras and everything that, what we can do in order to be better human beings, but also in order to reach this state of, self-realization. I'm not saying that I'm there, and I'm probably not going to get there in this lifetime at least. But just to say that I too struggle with practicing it, in which ways? Well, I too react to other people. I too sometimes say bad things about other people or think bad things about other people when I get offended or if I feel hurt. And so it's a normal thing, and it's a struggle that we will have our entire lives. But as I said in my blog post, I said, so the purpose behind bringing this to your attention now, today, and in my blog post and, on all the social media channels that I have, is because I want to raise awareness. I want to bring this awareness about it, because that's really the first step in changing our mindsets. And just being aware of it is always, it's going to make a difference. Maybe not that drastic a difference in the beginning, but the more you practice meditation, the more you practice mindfulness, the more aware you become of your thoughts, the better you will be able to control your thoughts and to control your actions, to control your reactions. So yeah, that was a bit of a side note. Ahimsa is very beautiful, and in theory it sounds wonderful, like be good to yourself, be good to others, but in practice it's very difficult because of our egos and because of our limiting beliefs, because of our childhood traumas, because of all the wounds we have in our souls. But that's what makes it fun, right? And it's just like with yoga. I mean, you'll never master yoga 100%, but you will always become better and better and better. Same with meditation. Just because I meditate every day doesn't mean that I never ever have 1 million thoughts in my mind, or that my monkey mind is not there. It's there, but I practice, and that's what makes a difference. So on that note, that was a lot of talk, but so what I say in my blog post about Ahimsa and how you can incorporate it into your daily life, and then I sort of list 3 ways you can do that. So the first way you can do that is by cultivating a positive thoughts, and sort of, like positive and kind, gentle thoughts. And I would say that's the hardest thing to do, because it's much easier to say, well, you should mind your language or you should mind your actions. But thoughts, they are almost there on autopilot. So it's very hard to control them. But as I said, with mindfulness, it becomes, it's never going to become easy. It's an ongoing work, but it becomes easier. So that's the difference. So when I say cultivate positive thoughts, what I mean is both towards yourself, but also towards others. So when you catch yourself thinking, oh, she's a bitch, that's normal. That's what we all do that. But catch yourself in that moment and then maybe say to yourself, okay, that thought was not pure. That thought was not positive. How can I, in the future, prevent myself from thinking that? How can I be more neutral or positive in the way I think about myself and other people? And same goes for when you we all have days, like especially us women. I have days where I'm just like, oh my god, I look horrible today. I think that to myself because that's how I feel, and that's of course very natural and it's very human. But then be aware of that and say, okay, next time I'm not gonna think that. You can feel that. That's fine. I mean, that's normal, and it's much harder to control. But try not to think that. Try to, or even if you do, try to turn it around and just think to yourself, but I love and accept myself just the way I am. No matter how I look, no matter how I feel, no matter how my hair looks today, or no matter what I did at work, no matter what my life situation is, I accept myself. So that's how you can sort of turn the negative thinking, negative spiraling of your thoughts into something positive. And yeah, again, same thing with thinking about other people. Try not to think negatively. It's very hard, but try and exercise and practice just stopping yourself there and saying, oh, I went into this negative thinking pattern. That person is not a bad person, and there are reasons behind why she or he is acting this and that way. Try to show more compassion also in your thinking. So yeah, that was about nonviolence in your thoughts. And then the second way that you can practice ahimsa in your life is speech. So that's a very important one. And something that I also sometimes can struggle with, of course. We all do, but it's especially with, when you speak about yourself, I guess that's self-explanatory. Instead of saying, well, today I look like a fat cow, just say, today is not my best day, but I'm still beautiful. The way you speak about yourself to others as well, be mindful of that. I had this habit before. I would be like, oh my god, I'm so stupid. Like, I do something and then I make a mistake, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm so stupid. And so ever since I became aware of that, now I don't do that anymore. I never call myself anything bad. Never. Almost never. If I do, I try to correct it. Because I'm not stupid. Like, why would I call myself that? That's not true. And even if it was true, nobody is stupid. Some people are intelligent academically. Some people are entrepreneurs. Some people are good with their hands. So just try to avoid this kind of language about yourself. But I would say at least as important as what you say about yourself is what you say about others. What you say to other people, but also what you say about other people. And there, I mean gossiping and talking badly about others. Just don't even go there. Like, why do you need... It's so much bad energy. It's like, it's drama, and why do you need... Don't you have enough drama in your life, So try to be mindful, and we all do that, I do that as well. I'm not saying that I'm not a saint, but try to be mindful about it and try to minimize the negative talk about other people, because it's only gonna harm you. Like, the person you're talking about, she doesn't care. It's only yourself you're harming. So that's also something that I have been practicing a lot. It's you can just make a rule, if you want to say something negative about the person, just say, I'm not gonna say anything, because there's no reason. It's not gonna help. It's not. And I would, in general, I had this really good comment from someone who I find very inspiring, who said, why... Because I said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And she said, well, why say anything? Like, why, even if you have something nice to say about the person, why would you say that? If you want to say something nice to her or him, do that to their face, but don't talk about other people. So that's a good way of saying, like, practicing non-violence in your speech. Just be neutral and watch your language, put it simply. And then the third way I mentioned in my blog is so being kind and gentle to your body, meaning treat your body as a temple as that it is. And I'm not saying only eat salad and carrots for the rest of your life and just drink juices and that's it. No, it's not about that, and it's not about depriving yourself. What I mean is make sure that most of the time the food that you consume is natural, is fresh, something that you can, when you consume it, try to visualize where it comes from. That's a trick I learned at a yoga retreat last year. So whenever you're consuming a meal, try to see if you can visualize where is it coming from. Like, let's say you're eating tomatoes, and try to imagine like tomatoes growing in the ground, or bananas growing on the banana trees, and then if you can't visualize it, then maybe it's a sign that the food you're consuming is not natural, and it's not fresh, which is fine once in a while, but try to find that balance. Yeah, and so that you're treating your body with respect, and the other thing was also on the mat. So basically, treating your body well also means, for me, it's doing yoga. Why yoga? Why not fitness? You might ask, because you burn so many more calories, blah blah blah. And I don't have anything against fitness at all. I used to do it myself a lot, but I don't think that doing fitness is a very non-violent way of doing it, or like of treating your body or getting the exercise, because it's also very ego driven. I feel like lifting weights and cardio, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just it depends on why you do it. If you do it to lose weight, or if you do it to look better, it's very ego driven, and then again it loses sort of the non-violent aspect of it. So for me, being good and treating your body well is doing yoga. But again, you can do yoga and you can be very ego driven. I myself have that weakness. I tend to get caught up in doing the poses and making them advanced, and being flexible and being strong. And then it's also like, so what I'm trying to say is be gentle to yourself on the mat and off the mat. I think you can summarize it in that way, because it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to get into the nice poses, and you shouldn't try to advance your yoga practice, but do it with gentleness, and don't do anything that your body is not ready for. Listen to your body, listen to what your body needs right now. So yeah, I mean, today, actually, I didn't do yoga today. I normally do it almost every day, but today I didn't do it. You know why? Because I actually was so tired. Honestly, I'm doing a lot of content work right now, and it really drains me of energy. And today I sat down on the mat, I meditated, I journaled, and then when the time came for me to do pranayama, the breathing exercises, and yoga, I just said, no, I don't feel it today. And then I went to bed. So that's ahimsa, that's non-violence. I respected my body, I respected what my body needed in that moment, and I did that. I listened to what I was asking, what my body was asking. So yeah, these were the 3 ways that I described in my blog post, how you can sort of incorporate non-violence into your life. Something else I also want to mention, and I don't want to sound preachy, but for me personally, non-violence means not harming the animals. So I don't eat meat, and it's a very controversial topic, and I've had a lot of discussions about this with a lot of people, and I personally think that it's very important to me to call myself a true non-violent person, not to kill animals. But that's just my perspective. Just wanted to mention that. So yeah, this is what ahimsa means to me, and if you want to check out my blog post, you can do that, and let me know if you have any questions. I also have noted down some questions from you guys. There were not too many of them, but I'll try to answer the ones that I have noted down. Do you have any tips on how to stop having negative, violent thoughts? Yeah, just like I mentioned before, it's very hard. So this comes really with practice. So my biggest tip would be start meditating. And with practice, it will be easier for you to control your thoughts. You will never feel that you master it, because it's very hard, but meditation would be the first step. So try to get into meditating in the morning and in the evening, or just in the morning or just in the evening. Just start somewhere, and see how it goes. That would be my biggest advice for you. And then another question was, how do I start my journey if I want to become conscious? Where do I start? So where do you start? Educate yourself. Educate yourself. If you don't do yoga, maybe start doing yoga, but not necessarily the physical part of it. I think you should do it, of course, because I love yoga, but what I mean is read some books. One book that I keep recommending to everyone that is curious is Eckhart Tolle, and he wrote this book called The New Earth, and that is a book that has changed my life. So that's the book I keep recommending to everyone. So Eckhart Tolle, he himself had a really severe depression. He was on the verge of suicide, and then he had this spiritual awakening, and that changed his life completely. And now he's this spiritual, teacher, master. He's been on Oprah Winfrey show. And if you want to start sort of understanding that world and the journey, like start your journey towards consciousness, read that book. And follow me, and if you find me interesting, I guess that's why you asked the question. But I'll have some more, I'll keep doing this, and I'll keep sort of raising awareness of these different topics, all related to spirituality and consciousness, and raising your vibration, law of attraction, all these beautiful topics that I really love and live by. So yeah, and then how has your life changed since you became a yoga teacher? Not really related to Ahimsa, but that's fine. How has my life changed? My life has changed completely for the better. I am a much happier person today than I was before I embarked on this journey. I'm not where I want to be, but I am happy. I can honestly say that I'm happy. I have goals, I have dreams, I have aspirations, but just knowing yourself so well as I have done, I have gotten to know myself. And knowing yourself is important, but then the second step is accepting yourself, and I think that's where I can really feel the difference. I have accepted myself, and I have accepted myself in the sense that I am very different, and I have accepted my difference. I have accepted that I'm not this average person who dreams about having a job and nothing wrong with that, like raising a family, it's all beautiful, but it's just not me. And I have accepted my quirks, and I have accepted that not everyone will like me, not everyone will love me. And that's fine, and that's something that I have really struggled with before. Like in the past, I would always try to fit in wherever I was. I moved to Denmark when I was 14 from Kazakhstan. I didn't have any friends, I didn't speak the language, and I didn't feel accepted at all. So I think that's where I was a bit traumatized. And then for the rest of my life, up until a few years ago, I really did my best to fit in and to be someone that would be accepted by others, because I didn't accept myself. And that all changed for the better when I became Prior to becoming a yoga teacher, I would say when I started doing yoga and really got into that world and had my spiritual awakening. So yeah, not a topic I'm gonna talk about today, but someday I will tell about it. I will talk about this journey. Um, so what keeps you going? What keeps you going in these difficult times? I guess what is meant is Corona times, and my my faith, my spiritual practices, my yoga keep me going. A sense of belonging in this world because I know that I have a purpose, I have a mission, and my mission is doing this. What I'm doing right now is building awareness about topics that people don't really know about unless they are in the yoga world. I want to bring this awareness to people, like normal people who maybe are struggling a bit with their stress levels, or with feeling lost and not knowing who they are, not feeling that they belong. I want to bring these topics to you, like to the world, and that gives me that keeps me going, because that's what I feel is my purposes in life, and I find it really beautiful. So yes, the times are very difficult, but then when you learn how to meditate, and when you I've been on a Vipassana retreat recently where I learned to accept all of the sensation in your body, but also in life, everything that happens to you. Accept it and don't try to change it, and just go with it, go with the flow. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what keeps me going. Yeah. And then last one actually. Do you do yoga and meditate every single day, or do you ever skip it? I love this question. No, I try to do it every day, but I do skip it. Like today, I didn't do yoga today because I didn't feel like it. I strive to do my spiritual practices. So yoga for me is spirituality also. It's my way of connecting to God. So is meditation, so my prayers and affirmations, and I do some law of attraction meditations as well. All of that for me is spirituality, and I try to do it every day, morning and evening. And some days I don't do it because, like if I'm out late, I have a life, I have friends, I see people, so sometimes I'm not at home, and if I'm home, I'm too tired, and I just skip it. I don't try not to be, you know, I try to be disciplined, but then when I lose that discipline, I don't beat myself up over it. So yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, I think that was it from me. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like it. And I will save this video and post it on my website. I'm not gonna post it to IGTV anymore, because I don't know, IGTV is just annoying me a little bit lately. It takes so long, and yeah. Anyways, have a nice evening, and thank you for joining. Namaste.